Hello, today we're going to talk about the 10 spare parts you should keep in your house for your scooter. And in this video, I will show you why. Well, hello, today we're going to talk about 10 parts that you should have with you or at your house as a spare parts for your GY6 scooter. Unfortunately, parts sometimes they breaks and you need parts. There is few parts that you should keep it with you with your scooter. It's always really important, like little small things you can bring it with you inside your scooter just in case of an emergency. It's very important. Now, those parts, all the parts actually, for this GY650cc scooter, they're pretty affordable. So you can have many of those parts. They're like a little Lego parts that you keep in your house just in case you're going to have that problem. One of the first things you should have, even with you with your scooter, is the spark plug. That will be number one, to keep an extra spark plug with you at all time, just in case the spark plug that you have with you will go bad, or sometimes the gaps is too wide, or sometimes they crack on the ceramic. So you know what, having another spark plug will not be a bad thing. So just a spark plug right here is fantastic to have a spark plug. Those spark plugs are between $5 to $8 online, and I will put the link down here just in case you need to buy a new spark plug. This is one of the first things you should have, a spark plug. Number two, spark plug coil. That would be the best. Having a spark plug coil, there is the wire and the boot and the coil that goes to the electrical system, is always really good. Usually they don't really fail too much, but after time, maybe after 10,000 miles, the little wire that passes a lot of current in through there will get burned. So if it gets burned, it will lose its superpower to transfer the electricity from your starter and from CDI and bring the electricity to your spark plug. So at that point you will have to change that. But you know, for a while, usually you don't have to change that. But what is good to think about that one, that when you have a new one, you feel that you have a better scooter reliable for you to go around with. You have a better cable and a better coil, okay? So number three in this category, we have the CDI. CDI is one of those parts that will tell your, you know, it will tell your spark plug to fire up, and without that one, your spark plug is not going to boom fire. So at that point, you will need another CDI, because CDI, they're really not too fixable, you know, because the way they're built, they're not fixable. So just buy a new CDI, and it's about $8, $9. You know, if you want to buy a reliable CDI, do not buy the one that high performance or, you know, more crazy prices and everything. Buy the stock CDI. The stock CDI will last you a long time. Number four, we're going right now. Number four, we have the starter solenoid. Starter solenoid is the little switch before the starter that sometimes with corrosion, with time, if you leave your scooter outside, the scooter might not start for the solenoid. So the only thing sometimes what they do, they put a little screwdriver between the poles of the solenoid. They try to turn on the scooter that way, but it's kind of dangerous. I don't like to go around electricity with a screwdriver and just make a connection with two poles. So at that point, if that is the problem, that because your scooter is not starting, you just buy a new solenoid. They're about $5 to $10 to buy it online, so it's not really a problem. Next thing after that, if your scooter is not starting and you listen to your starter motor that really doesn't want to start and does like kick, that could be two things. That could be the battery or could be the starter motor. See, the starter motor, many times they have a big problem, those little starter motor. They're really a bad design from the start. And the oil from the motor goes inside, and it goes inside the little motor of the starter, and kind of like, you know, goes all around the, you know, wire inside there, and it doesn't let the starter start. So okay, there is a problem right there that is made of a little rubber seal that is there, and after a while this rubber seal is not good anymore because it shrinks and lets oil inside the little starter motor. Starter motor usually about $18, not bad, let me tell you. They used to be about $35 maybe like 2 years ago. Now they're $18. They're really throw it to you like that, just for free almost. You just have to pay shipping and handling only. So that's funny. After the starter motor, something you really will need is the roller weight of the motor or the variator. You know, when you really, it's the transmission part of a scooter. That's where you really need all those parts sometimes. See, the thing that is gonna wear out faster is the roller weight. Roller weight, they are kind of by $10 for 6 roller weight, but they're not really too expensive. So roller weight, they're inside the variator. You just open up the variator. When you open the variator, you place those little, you know, the little weights inside there. Myself, personally, I like 14 or 12 grams, 12 or 14 grams of the roller weight. Because if I go lower than that, I will feel my scooter vibrating too much, raving too much, and I really don't like that little too much shaking of the scooter. So there is, you know, everybody's got his preference. You know, you prefer a little higher weight, you prefer a little lower weight. You just take your weight, and it will be great. Okay, right after the roller weight, we should buy a belt. You know, you should keep it in your house all the time, just in case. Because when the belt really break, it's not a nice feeling, because you're gonna feel your motor like raving, like ee, and you're not going anywhere. So, so it's better to have a belt. That's the feeling that when you break the belt, you should have another one. And the feeling of the weight breaking the belt and the shredding of the belt, that doesn't sound good. You know, it's funny because when the belt breaks, it makes like a flapping noise. Fa, 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 fa. You hear, you listen. That's before it, just before a few minutes that it breaks, it goes in the back of the clutch, and when it turns there, it does like fa, 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 fa. It's so funny. That's a little noise that you hear, and then you hear. That's what it is. All right, after the belt, I will go in the back just in case you're going to need a clutch. A clutch is the old part that's in the back. Usually when I buy a clutch, I just buy the whole thing. It's about $37. I keep it in the house as a spare part. It's not really bad to have it in the house. Now, just don't change just the shoes and the part of the clutch. Change the whole clutch. Because the problem sometimes is that the disc, they're together. Sometimes they're warped a little bit after a while with the heat and all the work they're doing. If they're warped, they will wear out your belt in a kind of like a side way or the other way, or sometimes that's why your belt just broke, because the back side of the clutch plates are warped. That's one of the problems. So I will keep this clutch in the house that is around $37, and I will change it whenever I have a problem. How do you know that you have a problem in a clutch? You're gonna hear like you're making popcorns on the side, on the rear side of your CVT cover. You're like click, 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 pop, 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 pop. That's what is the sound of the clutch breaking down. Because there is a little connection of the shoes. They usually break all the time. Not really all the time, but after 3,000 miles, 5,000 miles, keep it in mind, if you hear that sound in the back, that's the clutch breaking apart. So change that clutch. So right after the clutch, there's many other things that you're going to need, and I will show you that right now. Okay, right after you change this clutch, if you have to, and you keep it in your house as a spare part, what you really need sometime is the gasket of your exhaust system. The gasket of the exhaust system is very important because sometimes you really make a lot of noise. So the problem with the gasket, that after a while with a lot of heat, they become thinner and thinner and thinner. So you can change that gasket in just 10 minutes. You know, you don't have to do that job in the middle of the street. It's a spare part that you can keep it with you at home. When you go back home, if you have a problem and your gasket for the exhaust is broken, change it. Because sometimes they might give you a ticket or something like that for too much noise on the street. So that will not be pleasurable if you have a like ticket for $160. That's what is down here in Florida for that, to make them too much noise. Now something really important, just in case all the time with you as a spare part, bring a little bit of hose and a filter. A little hose and a filter is always really good. Filter is not really you know, the big problem. But sometimes the hose, because they become hard after a long time, especially stay on the outside, sometimes they could break at the padcock valve. If they break at the padcock valve, at that point, what you have to do, you just start to replace the little hose, a little piece of hose. So just keep 1 foot or 3/16 hose or 6mm hose on your scooter, or sometimes you can use a quarter hose. Those are larger and better quality that you can keep with you at all time. Those are very important. A spare part, a hose, and a fuel filter. Okay, another part that you're really gonna need is the manifold. The manifold is that part that is in front of your carburetor that sometimes breaks because it's made of rubber, because it's supposed to be made of rubber, because the manifold is that connection that brings the fuel from your carburetor to your motor. Now, has to be made of rubber because the manifold is the suspension on the carburetor. So the suspension of the carburetor is kind of like the carburetor is slightly higher and the manifold is down here. So what a carburetor does, if you get any recess on a hole on the street, the carburetor is going to move up and down by the help of the little, manifold. So at that point, sometimes the front part of the manifold breaks down because after making the suspension for a long time, after maybe like hot weather or cold weather, this rubber of the manifold will crack. So if that little piece that is the manifold that you bought it online for $5, you go to the mechanic, they will charge you about $80 or $75 to fix that little problem. That will take you about 10 minutes. So it's really worth it to buy this $5 part for your scooter and keep it in your house. So in the long way, you will save a lot of more money. So that is really important, the manifold right in front of your scooter. Right in front. Okay, another part that you will really need in your house, just as a spare part, is the light bulbs. Light bulbs from your scooter. You don't really need to spend a lot of money or buy the really high quality lights. Just buy the standard lights that you need with your scooter. At that point, if something burns out, like a turn signal, a front light, a rear brake, have the lights with you all the time, or keep it in your house just in case you have to fix those lights. Okay, after you buy all those parts, your garage is gonna look like a mechanic garage. Listen, if something happened and you have these parts at your house or with you, you're going to save a lot of money. All those parts that I just mentioned, they will cost you about $150. But if you go to the mechanic for 2 times, you will spend more than that sometimes. So buy little by little all these little parts, keep it in your house, just in case one day you will need them. Okay, I'd like to thank you very much for watching my video. I hope you enjoy. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. And thank you.